Here it's all about cooperation. People, weather, science. It's a package. But you know that by now.
She'd joined the department as a sergeant and risen quickly to undersheriff. 6 years later, she'd become the first female sheriff in county history. She thought her election had had a lot to do with her big city past, which included a gold shield and several accommodations, and her skills as a communicator. Toole County was the seat of a lot of law enforcement activity. In addition to the sheriff's department, they had the Highway Patrol and U.S. Border Patrol working out of their little town of Blue Mesa. With Canada serving as their northern border and 3 major freeways barreling through the county, it was a natural choice for command centers, and it had served Nicole well. "I know, but I don't always like it," she confirmed. Macaulay squinted at the fiber in his tweezers and then held it up. A young forensics tech scrambled forward with a plastic evidence bag.
Our biggest mistakes are made when we think we can do it alone.
She wondered if the comment was a professional or personal observation. Either would apply, although she and Macaulay didn't make it obvious. No talk, no touch on the job, and other restrictions that preserved her image as the sheriff. But it had been a long time since Nicole agreed to dinner. 2 weeks at least. His tone was neutral, sounding more like advice than judgment, so it was hard to gauge his investment in the conversation. He was crouched over the girl's body, peering closely into her eyes with a penlight, but he spared Nicole a glance. And she found a wealth of emotion in his gaze. Concern, warmth beyond the professional, and not a small amount of challenge. She ignored it. "I'd settle for an honest-to-God crime lab," she returned. A full team to back her on the field. She was a quarterback who relied on her defense. Macaulay knew that.
"And a tried-and-true ME to run it?"
"Yes, that too." He stood and turned to her. His salted hair lifted in the breeze. His ears were pink.
"You're losing evidence," he acknowledged. "Probably more than any of us have been able to gather for you."
"You suck at the bedside etiquette, Macaulay." He smiled.
"Just commiserating."
He nodded toward the body. A young girl, underdressed for the weather. She was slender, with hair a shade darker than coffee, and was probably 13 or 14 years old. Nicole didn't recognize her, so she wasn't local. They hadn't received a missing child report. A lot of parents had dinner with the kids, tucked them into bed, and then hit the mountain for a little airtime before turning in themselves. It was the day after Christmas, 2:00 a.m., and the hotels, lodges, and resorts were packed with tourists.
"Want to know who she is?"
Always a loaded question when it came from Macaulay. Once an identity was established, the doctor referred to their victims by name. Nicole and her team had learned to harden themselves to it. Macaulay was first and foremost a physician, and a small sliver of Nicole's heart was relieved that the doctor saw people where she and her officers saw bodies. But in cases where obtaining objectivity was difficult, such as the murder of a child, even the most experienced of them softened, and that got in the way of good police work. "She have a wallet?"
"I'm guessing there's a Snow Bunny ID card at the end of this lanyard."
He bent and tugged at a braided pale blue string. It was tucked under the crew neck of the girl's sweater and twisted so that the body trapped the laminated pass beneath her. Nicole stepped closer. The lanyard was complimentary, and the pass doubled as a room key. With any luck, the card was still intact.
"I'm ready to lift her."
Nicole knelt beside Macaulay as he slid his hands under the girl's shoulder and hip and rolled her. This close, the girl's face looked almost translucent. She had the smoothest skin Nicole had ever seen, and big eyes that sloped at the ends. She was Hispanic. Her cheekbones and chin were curved and full, and had beads.